If we talk about East Asia, it's in our minds the countries of China, Japan, and Korea. But did you know that in Mongolia once there was a most famous empire, the Mongol Empire? The empire, built in 1206 by this Genghis Khan, had an empire that ran from East Asia until it extended through Eastern Europe and parts of Central Europe to the Japanese Sea, the Arctic, the Indian continent, Southeast Asia, the Iranian highlands, the Levant, the Carpathian Mountains, and to the northern European border. The Mongol Empire reached its zenith when ruled by Kublai Khan. The collapse of the Mongol Empire began after the death of its founder, Genghis Khan. In effect, the Mongol Empire was divided into four khanates or kingdoms. First, the Yuan dynasty or China, the Ilkhanate or Persia, the Chagatai, Central Asia, and the Golden Horde, Russia. Each empire ruled by this descendants of Genghis Khan has in its own interests and enemies. Discontention and division were among the causes of the collapse of the Mongol Empire. And the second history in Asia, that was during the Second World War.
This actor can be divided into two, namely state actor and non-state actor. Countries in East Asia include China, Japan, Hong Kong, Macau, Taiwan, South Korea, North Korea, Mongolia, Micronesia, Marshall Islands, Palau, Nauru, Guam, Caribbean, and North Mariana. China, Japan, and Korea are the main actors in the world economy who are assumed to have responsibility for economic prosperity in the East Asia region. This makes East Asian regionalism impossible to practice without the support of these countries. The lack of institutional alignment among these giant nations has hampered the overall welfare effect for East Asian societies. The driving force behind the formation of relations between China, Japan, and Korea today is the market, which in some sense is no longer sufficient, which must be accompanied by regionalism. The main focus of this regionalism is to make these countries grow together so that they can spread positive externalities in the East Asian region. However, it is very unlikely to encourage the formation of regionalism in this Asia region. To be able to form regionalism in this region is very difficult, especially with the perception held by each country in this region, where one country to another sees the existence of other countries as a threat, be it China, Japan, and Korea. Whereas the mechanism of regionalism to prevent conflict is to create cooperation, trust, and common understanding between each country. However, countries in the East Asian region tend to not have the readiness or more precisely, there is no will for this. Therefore, there is no organization that serves as a forum for the welfare of the East Asian community, such as ASEAN, which is an organization in the Southeast Asian region.
Next, we're going to talk about the scope. The first is the economy and politics. East Asia region is the center of gravity of global security. This region is one of the most strategic regions in the world. The security of Asia in general is largely determined by the dynamics and interactions of security in this region. The East Asian region is also one of the most dynamic regions in Asia. Its economic growth, mainly China's economic growth. EASG agreed on 26 collaborative programs out of 57 programs proposed by EAFG. This collaboration is divided into 17 short-term cooperation programs, including increasing understanding of East Asia in the region, establishing a network of East Asian research institutions, technology transfer, and creating an attractive investment climate. Next, about the socio-cultural. Over the past 2 decades, Japanese pop culture products have been exported, traded, and consumed on a large scale throughout East and Southeast Asia. Japanese animated characters such as Hello Kitty, Ant-Man, and Pokemon can be found everywhere in markets in Asian cities. Some argue that cultural proximity determines the way in which culture trends spread, or Asian fragrance easily resonates with local consumers. And how about the security? In East Asia, regional security dynamics generally revolve around the three main issues: Japan's problem with its neighbors, tensions in relations between China and Japan, and the ongoing war between the two countries on Korean Peninsula. The potential for regional conflicts is perceived by East Asian countries as a big threat. Therefore, countries in East Asia are trying to continue to advance their respective national defenses by increasing their military strength and weapons capabilities.
Now, let's go into the discussion of the ideology, social life, and military defense system of East Asia. Ideology is the ideas of the state or ideas that form the basis for a state system for all the people and the nation concerned. For example, the ideology of the Japanese state, the ideology of Hakoichi or 8 corners of the world under one roof is an ideology strongly believed by the Japanese that Japan was designed to rule the world. And the second, Taiwan country. The ideology of Taiwan is the ideology of democracy like the United States and Indonesia. In social life, a life is called a social life if there is an interaction between one individual and another. In East Asia, there are various countries with different life depending on their own culture. I will take the example of Japan. Japanese culture is very much focused on outward appearance and social mores. Breaking from the norms in this public situation is not generally accepted, particularly in business. But indeed, East Asian countries are known to value time and are also known to work very hard to achieve something. Military defense system. The existence of various dynamics in regional security encourage countries in the East Asia region to strengthen their defense strategies to secure national interests. The potential for conflict between the countries encourage the development of military power as an option for countries in the East Asia region to strengthen their power in the interaction of relations between countries. As a result, the phenomenon of self-defense is becoming increasingly visible among countries in the East Asia region.
And I want to tell you about the issues regionalism in East Asia. Yasukuni template issues as a restoring factor of Japanese effort in forming regionalism in East Asia together with China and Korea. Yasukuni's shrine is a shrine in which there is a historical story of Japan during World War II. The purpose of Japan to build this template is to commemorate the service of the warriors who died at the time. Yasukuni's shrine was built in 1969 in the Levy area. In its history, this shrine commemorates at least 2.5 million Japanese people who died in World War II. The meaning of the word Yasukuni is a peaceful country, according to the beliefs of the Japanese people. Those who were dedicated were Japanese warriors who fought on the behalf of the emperor. So what makes it a problem? Judging from the name inserted in the template, that is the name of the Japanese leader who was accused of being a war criminal in World War II and is a Class A. China and Korea think that the hero who named in the immortalized is an invader in their country in the World War II. The thing that is criticized in this template is how Japan tells that Japan launched a war that liberated Asia from the Western imperialism without explaining the cruelty of the Japanese army itself. Although this shrine is frequently visited by Japanese prime ministers, but the visits are not officials. These visits cause anger from China and Korea, from Beijing and Seoul, as well as disappointment from the United States. Some Japanese people suggest to removing the names of these war criminals, but this suggestion was rejected by the template official. This is what is seen as hampering regionalist relations between China, Japan, and Korea.